Let's go and pick up this boat. And today we're going to be using this big beastie. So this is being put to good use now. This one's out of commission now, so we're selling this one off. No longer needed, but this one here will be doing the big work. Needs some steps pretty badly. Right.
With a mattress on the back is the last one. We're coming through, Jay. There's plenty of room.
Right. Let's get on with this. Right. Hey everyone, we're just en route now to go and pick up a Boston Whaler. It's going up to Exmouth. We're using the new 3500 Ram DUALLY, the Laramie. Just on the radio. We've done a few trips in it already, but we've had a pretty wild month with COVID and things like that, so haven't really had a good trip to take any footage and get any content at all. But yeah, this one should be a pretty good trip. We're going up to Exmouth. The Whaler, I think it's a 7-metre Whaler, around 7 metres. I don't think it's oversized. About 3 and a bit ton. Assuming I think it's a centre console, but we'll find out. Yeah, so let's get cruising. And yeah, just freeway now, so it's pretty boring. So let's get into that. So these roadworks have been going on for years, but so where we're going today, we're going down to a place called Coogee Beach, or Coogee, which is down south of Fremantle, like south of Perth, on the coast. It's a real nightmare for where we are to get to. We have to go through all this traffic to get there and everything like that as well. It's not too bad now. It's a long weekend here this weekend. It's what, 2 o'clock, 10 to 2 now, so we'll be coming up here at 4 o'clock. It's going to be absolutely gridlocked. So that's going to be great fun. But at least it's not an oversized boat this time, which I'm quite pleased about. So it means you don't really have to get stuck on the back roads, because that's a real pain and they're really narrow as well. So at least we can hum back up the freeway, coming back up north anyway. So just going through Perth City now. You might not be able to see much, didn't get the GoPro out in time, but it's kind of over there. Kind of drive right through the middle of the city, which is pretty cool.
Okay, traffic coming down the right. We go up and over the Swan River. Try not to go into the curb. So here we are at the storage, get ready to hook her up. Right, we've hooked up the Boston. Let's do some quick checks. Make sure everything is all good here. It's pretty good.
Right, now let's get this thing set up. So, tow mode, tow haul, one click is exhaust brake full. I kind of like the full exhaust brake when we're towing. You can put it on automatic. So automatic, the difference between automatic and full exhaust brake is that full exhaust brake is every time you let off your foot off the throttle, the exhaust brake works. Automatic is only when you put your foot on the brake, and you only have to touch the brake for it to come in, but that's when it comes on, when it's an automatic. So when we're towing, I always like to have it in full exhaust brake, because normally when you're letting off, you're decelerating. If you keep your foot on the accelerator just a tiny bit, it doesn't engage as well. So on these Rams, you can set up your gauge cluster. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I've set it up for boost on the top right hand corner. Sorry, there's a car coming in. Transmission in the top left, coolant in the bottom right, and in the bottom left I've actually got my exhaust brake kilowatts, so it actually tells me how much the exhaust brake is working. So I don't know if you'll see it come up. Hang on, see if you can see it here. I'll let off the throttle, see the exhaust brake out. You might even hear it as well. And it's amazing, it's so powerful. It just seems to, you can pretty much stop the car just using the exhaust brake. Real big fan of that. There's little things which are really handy about this. So if we go to controls, backup camera, you can see the back there, and then you've also got cargo cam, which is pretty handy. It's pretty dirty at the moment, needs to clean that. Yeah, she's pretty handy. You can see everything you need to see. Yeah, pretty cool bits of gear on here. Right, so we're just heading out now. All hitched up. This is one thing I like about this car. What we do here, go across to trailer, reset all that trip info soon. Electric over hydraulics, trailer light check. So basically it checks all your lights, runs a cycle through all the lights. Pretty cool. Alright, let's get the show on the road. So I've reset all the fuel, tow haul mode is on, automatic exhaust brake is on. And yeah, we're pretty much ready to go now. I did half fit a light bar up to the front of the car today, but yeah, I just didn't have time in the end to do all the wiring and everything like that. So unfortunately I still don't have any. I mean, the factory lights are okay, but they're not great. They're all right, they do the job. But yeah, when you've been so used to driving cars with spotlights and LED light bars and things like that, it seems you seem a bit blind, to be honest with you. So yeah, so we'll see how we go. Yeah, need to get some fuel, fill up, and then it's a big burn up to Geraldton tonight. We should get into Geraldton about 11:30 tonight. Probably stop in Northampton and get some sleep there. It's normally a bit cooler at night there, so we'll set up there and have a kip. So just getting some fuel in Geraldton now. Pretty shattered, so we'll get some fuel here and then we'll pull up. I'll show you the sleeper in the back. Alright, we'll call it a day. So, about 12:30 now, so definitely time to sleep. This is our little sleeper in the back, so don't know if you can quite see it with the light, but yeah, double swag mattress folded in half essentially, fits perfect. And I'm not exactly tall, I'm only 5'10", so she will do nicely for tonight. Up early in the morning. Good morning, people. Nice little sleep in the back. Yeah, I'll quickly show you this. This is sort of set up in the back. Pretty nice. Slept like a log. Last bit of the run to do this morning. Yeah, now to put some kilometres in. Let's get going. So why did we buy a 3500 Ram? Why did we buy one of these? Why did we buy a DUALLY? I mean, guys in the US would laugh at what we're going to use this car for. They would say, why did you buy a DUALLY? And you know, there'd be people in Australia who say the same thing. Even I say the same thing. I really wouldn't need a DUALLY, but we do lots of kilometres with decent loads on the back. You know, we don't have interstates. Our roads are not interstate roads. They're just outback highways. So the roads are pretty crappy. You know, get all the heavy winds in the desert from the willies and things like that. You know, it's nice to have something that's very stable, and that's one thing I've noticed with these DUALLYs. I mean, I don't even know, like that boat on the back there is what, just over 3 tonne. I reckon it's about 3.3 tonne, something like that. I can't even feel it. If I didn't see it, if I couldn't see it, I wouldn't even know it's there. It just, if anything, it makes it nicer to drive because it softens the suspension in the back. I've got airbags in the back, but I don't know when I'm actually going to have to use it. But the suspension on this thing is so beefy. You know, by now on our other cars, we'd have to put, for a boat like this, I'd have to put air in the bags. That wouldn't be an option. But for this car, that's just standard suspension. Just slap a boat on the back. And I've got 100 kilos of fuel in the back, probably 50 kilos, no more than that, 80 kilos of tools and spares and stuff like that. Maybe 100 kilos, there's 200 kilos in the tray as well. It doesn't even notice it. Fuel wise, it probably uses more than a single wheel. I mean, this is why we bought a diesel, but you know, we've got the 1500 Hemi back at our place, which is good for 4.5 tonne towing. To be honest with you, it's absolutely fine. And you know, guys will say you have to get the diesel. Not here. Not in Australia. You don't need it. Like, you know, you can get away with a Hemi. We don't get the big enough weights here to worry about. So why did I buy one of these? Well, these are commercial grades. You know, in the US, I had a big look on the US, watched lots of YouTube videos, watched lots of hotshot truckers in the US, or hotshot drivers in the US is exactly probably the equivalent to kind of what we do. You know, and they all use Rams. Everyone seems to use Rams. I know a couple of people use Ford Power Strokes and things like that, F450s, F350s and things like that, but everyone seems to have Rams. So I'll take a leaf out of their book. If that's what they're using to tow a lot more than what we're allowed to tow, and they do it day in, day out, hundreds of thousands of miles, that's fine with me. I've watched lots of videos where they show the Ram 3500 with the Cummins with 500,000 miles on them. And I like the fact that Ram has used the same engine for so long. I mean, they had the 5.9 Cummins, and then they went to the 6.7. And they don't change it. They don't, because they don't need to. Same with the icing gearbox. Like it's a 6-speed gearbox in here. It should be an 8-speed or a 10-speed. Should be. That's what everyone else is using. It's like old technology. But there's a reason why they haven't changed it, and that's because it just keeps going. It's bulletproof. It's a bulletproof bit of gear. So that's why we went for a Ram. We did look at F450s as well, and I really like the F450s. They're a bit bigger than one of these. There's a couple of things on them that would be nice. I think they look epic as well. But mind you, I do like the DUALLY Rams as well. So we bought this because this is what it's going to be doing all the time. This is, I kind of want to supersede our other two cars. So we've got 200 series. If you've ever seen the other videos, we've got 200 series cruiser, which is basically just set up for towing. That's rated for, legally, I reckon we can tow about 3.35 on that fully. Then we got the 1500 Ram, which is a Hemi. That's rated for 4.5 ton towing, which is the only reason we bought it. It was the cheapest way to get 4.5 ton towing. Again, absolutely fine, happy with that. No complaints at all. That's a big boat on a small car. So we bought this just purely so I never have to worry about capacities. The biggest shame with these cars is that, well, it's not the car's fault, and it's not the importer's fault. It's the red tape Australia, where they just seem to just want to limit you with everything. This car, if you own a Ram and you go Ram Australia onto Ram USA, you can put your VIN number in, and it will tell you all your ratings for your car, what it's built for, what it come out of the factory towing wise. So I think this is 33,000 pounds. I don't know what that works out in kilos. It's about 15 ton, I think, 15.5 tons. But it's 15.5. I think the GVWR, they call it, which is GCM, was about 19 tons. Whereas they've taken 5 tons off it to comply in Australia. I don't understand why. Like, it's not like the US isn't unsafe, and I don't think they do things by half measures. I think these are way overkill for what they need to be. But they just won't. For some reason, they just don't want to let you use it for what it's capable for. We also have a problem here as well, that over 4.5 tons, you need to have air brakes, which is another pain, and it's a big cost as well, because you've got to get the system fitted as it is anyway. You've got to get a full air brake system fitted to the car, which, you know, there's kits out there for us, so you can do that. But then you've got to get it re-engineered, which is crap as well, you know, like, and it's expensive. It's expensive, you know, like, it can be a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, maybe more exercise just to do that, which is wrong. You know, and this is where I was going to get to. I could have gone and bought a small truck for 50 grand and had similar sort of capacities. That's the reality of it. But I can't drive that truck to the shop every day. Can't take the kids to school. Missus can't use it to take kids to school. You wouldn't go on holiday in it. You can only do 100 kilometres an hour. Maybe less, because, you know, there's an older one for that money as well. You know, whereas at the moment we've got, this is a car. And this is a car, so you go quicker, you go in more places. You can use it for your, you know, for daily use and everything like that. That's why we've gone for one of these in the end. So it's basically the last day of school holidays today, so we'll see what it's like. Hopefully it's not too much traffic. I've seen a few cars. I thought it'd be worse than this, to be honest. Hoping most people went home on the weekend. So yeah, we'll see what this roadhouse is like. I hope it's not packed. Get people who faff around and take ages to buy coffees and stuff like that and don't move their cars. Probably irritates me more than anything, but we will find out any moment. Please don't be busy, please don't be busy, please don't be busy. Doesn't look too bad. Could be worse, which is good. Only a couple of people there, which is good. Sweet. So I haven't seen the people for this car in front. I'm guessing they're probably getting coffees and food and everything. But why people don't get their food, get the fuel, pay for the fuel and then move the car, Like, I mean, I know people have got all the time in the world to sit there. Like you can park anywhere you want and wait as long as you want. And then there's me, like, trying to work. I need to get somewhere, you know. Like, it's just, God, it drives me nuts. Probably one of those things that irritates me the most at fuel stations when people do this. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just being a moody. And it's funny because this is one of the main reasons why I want to have a big fuel tank, so I don't have to stop at roadhouses. Because this is what always happens. It's been another couple of minutes now. Like, what are they doing? Maybe I'm just grumpy. Right. Final little quick stop before you hit the Exie. Oh, stretch those legs. It's not so hot here today, which is nice. So green. So there's one thing I wanted to touch base on with when it comes to towing, especially boats, mainly boats anyway. One thing that I've noticed, because we get asked this question quite a lot, which boats tow better than others and all this sort of stuff. So for example, this boat isn't particularly huge, but it's the balance of it isn't quite right. It just feels like it's got too much weight at the rear. So I've noticed if I go over 110 kilometers an hour to overtake, it gets very snaky in the rear. So I find normally you're better off having all the weight sort of along the front of the boat as much as you can, as opposed to at the back. There's a video on YouTube of some guy, and he has a balance little toy that he puts weights on, and he shows you what difference it makes by having the weights at the back or at the front. So that's pretty interesting. That's worth a watch. Good info about balancing your load, basically. But yeah, a bit of weight on the front's always good, especially for us. It doesn't really matter for us because we've got so much capacity in the back of our Ram. It doesn't really matter, but I know that you know, some people like to take the weight off the car as opposed to putting it on the tow bar, but for us it doesn't really matter. Yeah, you can tell this trailer's not balanced. It just seems to want to flip around all over the place. Even if you go around a corner ever so slightly, it just starts kicking all over the joint. This goes back to what I was saying, you know, it's just all about that balance. Like, we tow some pretty big boats, but some of them just feel like you've got a little tinny on the back. You know, the only reason you know you've got something heavy is you can feel the weight when you take off, or you can feel the wind blowing on it. But to be honest with you, some of them drive so straight and balance so well, you know, like, apart from looking at your fuel gauge, you wouldn't even know what, you know, you wouldn't even know what you've got behind you.
Stay together or apart, but it's hard to be alone and to feel.
So this is one thing I've noticed with this car, you know, compared to our other Ram. So, you know, we've got a decent bit of weight on the back, but look at those temps. Coolant temperature 94 degrees, trans temp 74, oil temp 97, oil pressure 49 psi. That's unreal to me, especially the trans temp. You know, our cruisers are pretty well set up and they're a pretty good tow vehicle, but even our cruiser, when it gets hot, I mean, it's only 32 degrees outside now, I suppose, but the trans temp there normally sits around the 90s to 100, just over 100 degrees mark. Whereas you can see here on the Icing transmission, 74 degrees. I mean, flipping cool. We don't even get, our cruiser doesn't even get down to that. I don't think it always gets above that. Even at coolant temp, 93 degrees. I mean, that's not bad for a turbo diesel as well. But it just goes to show you really how much this car is just built to tow. That's one thing that's interesting though, is that DEF, I don't know if you can see on the bottom left, but the DEF fluid. So we've gone through a quarter of a tank of DEF over 1,000, well, it's more than that, 1,080 kilometres. Whereas when I drive around town, you know, I'll get probably 2,000 kilometres out of that. Oh, well, way more than that, 5,000, 6,000 kilometres out of the AdBlue. So yeah, towing definitely makes a big difference to that. So we're just burning down to Coral Bay now. Got the boot in now, most of the not having anything on the back. Yeah, so I'll go rock up into town. This boat I took up a couple of weeks ago. They've been on holiday, so it's all locked up. But they've left me the keys and everything, so I'll basically just have to hitch it up and then hit the road again, keep heading south. Pretty nice little plate boat actually. Cuddy cabin. Oh, it's a 7 metre boat, yeah. Just doesn't look as big as most of them. Millions of flies still, great. It seems to be raining when I come through Geraldton these days. Last time I come through here, I don't think I've got any video footage of it, but we had a Genesis craft on the back and it was all flooded through here. It was pretty horrendous, to be honest. But it's not too bad now. It's got a big wet patches, but keep on going. Try and get back to Perth tonight. I'm happy with that. Alright, let's get some fuel. Get some fuel for the car, a bit of fuel for me. I'm starving. I need a bit of caffeine as well. Right, let's do this. Got a little bit of food. I didn't really have anything good though, so I just had to have some chips. That's pretty much all I had. Could really have done with something a bit more meaningful than that, but just gonna have to wait now. Let's keep going. Right, home straight. I was going to try and get to Jurien Bay, but I might as well just keep going. By the time I get there, it's 2 hour drive, hour and 50 minutes, so I might as well keep going.